here to talk about nachhaltigkeit durch Design and Creative Denmark, just to kind of give you a few words on who we are as an organization. We are a public-private partnership established between the Danish government on the one side. We have 3 different ministries, and on the private side we have 2 major business organizations in Denmark, as well as Real Dania, who's a philanthropical association in Denmark. And we are a not-for-profit setup, so the whole agenda with Creative Denmark is to kind of foster relations between international stakeholders on the one side and on the private or national side, the Danish stakeholders within the creative industries. We're working to push forward sustainability. We are working to push forward quality of life, but driven by the creative industries, because we think that's kind of the key to actually make an impact or do these kind of changes. We cover the creative industries in Denmark broadly. So it's not only within design or fashion, but also architecture, building design. We have the gaming industry, we have films, music, all of it. So the aim for us to look into all of these different sectors, but also see how can we actually have the creative industries push forward innovation, push forward change in other sectors that derive some of the innovative processes, some of the innovative skills, competences that we have in the creative industries to push forward change into, for example, healthcare sector, for example, the green solution, clean tech, all of that. So we cover the creative industries broadly as sectors. Today, we're going to talk about how creativity can actually drive that change. As I said before, we look into 2 different key methods, one being quality of life. We know that there's an increased need for quality of life, urbanization, all of that. People are looking into wanting to increase their quality of life. So we are trying to see how can we actually bridge that gap that naturally will come when there's an increased people want that more. So we are trying to bridge that gap between not having quality of life in some of the upcoming markets, and see if through design, through innovation, through other kind of STEM models, can we actually increase that. The other thing is what's on the agenda today. It's about sustainability. I've worked within the clean tech sector for many, many years. And I think it's so interesting to look at how the whole talk of sustainability is not only through CO2 emissions, taxation, all of that carbon talk anymore, but it's also about how can we actually nudge a behavioral change to make the impact where we are to drive forward the green transition in all kinds of industries. So that's what we look into in Creative Denmark. Today it's about fashion, and the fashion industry in Denmark is a huge industry. It's actually the 4th biggest industry when in terms of exports in Denmark, and the numbers has doubled throughout the last 10 years. So it's a massive industry. Denmark is a very small country, so look at it that way, it's massive. And 2/3 of the revenue in Denmark within the fashion industry derives from export. So this is actually the numbers that we look into in Denmark. I'm here today also to kind of launch this new white paper that we made that is focusing in on nachhaltigkeit durch Design. And this is a major focus or theme for us. And some of the things that we focus in on in this white paper is, as you can see on the screens right now, design for circularity. It's about how can we actually use the force that 80% of a product's carbon footprint is determined in the design phase. How can we look into new kind of business models where rental and resale is increasing? In Denmark right now, if you look at all purchase of garments in Denmark, 9% of all purchase is coming from resale. as we speak right now, and we have to increase that number, right? So that's one of the things. Another thing is smart material. It's about sourcing more responsible that we have been used to. So that's one point in the white paper. Another one is the data-driven responsibility. We are increasingly looking into how digitalization can actually increase our transparency throughout the whole value chain in the fashion industry. We also look into how we can actually increase or lower the carbon footprint through digitalized production processes. And we look into how can we actually innovate through the data that we are given. How can we have a data-driven approach to the fashion industry as well? We've seen it in many other industries throughout the last 20 years. How can we actually incorporate those learnings into the fashion industry? The last thing that the white paper here focusing on is togetherness or collaboration across partners. This is a massive, massive focus in Denmark. Obviously, we are a very small country. We can't, to spearhead it, we can never do anything alone because we need collaboration, not only across borders, but also across disciplines. We need to have a much more quattro helix approach, incorporating the end consumer, incorporating science, incorporating the industry, incorporating the public entities to actually nudge that behavioral change throughout it.